Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Beginning 2 Mathematical Reasoning. The recommended age is age 4. And today we're going to do a flip through of this book and talk about why it will be a great follow-up for the Mathematical Reasoning Beginning 1 book. So this is a great curriculum choice. In the first video, I talked about the table of contents, the NCTM standards, and what they all mean. And if you see geometry and algebra, don't freak out. I've showed you their examples of geometry and algebra in there, and this would be an example of algebra. Point to each airplane and say its color. So the concepts in these are not advanced or not as scary as you may think, or you may be thinking, oh my goodness, algebra, I really have to get this because my child needs to know algebra. So you can look at the titles at the top to see the examples of when those sections are going to be shown. This is a follow-up curriculum choice, and let's jump into it. So you're still working with subitizing, and you're going to draw a line segment to connect each hand with the matching numeral. So you show 3 fingers, your child draws the line to the 3, and so forth. Here you will be working with more subitizing. They're also working with numbers above 5 here. There is also a review of the straight and curved lines. Now you're pointing to letters here, showing the line segments of it, which have curved lines, which have straight lines. Here it reads you're counting the number of footprints in each group. Draw a line segment to what made the footprints. So this is cool. You see these children have 4 feet. Which of these have 4 feet? These 2. But which one belongs to the humans and which one belongs to the elephant? So this requires a little bit of thinking skills there too. We have some more here. Count the 6 bugs and check the groups of 6. So with their subitizing skills, they'll be able to see that 5 plus 1 more is 6, 5, 6. Use the fingers on one hand to show how many objects are in one picture. So they're still using their hands. 4, 4, 5, 2. And this is good because when you move on to a kindergarten math curriculum, a lot of the times they will use their fingers to start off with mental math to give kids an idea, not counting 3 plus 3 is 6, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but saying that 3 plus 3 is 6 and being able to subitize this right here, 5 and 1 is 6. And not only using their fingers, they're showing them how to use 10 frames as well, so that the children can identify groups before they get into addition. And right now, and I'm still just continuing to do a flip through. Now we have some pattern reviews again. This is also a review, corners, and it looks so similar to Mathematical Reasoning 1. So if your child is already subitizing, they already know a little bit about order, and they already know height, well, shorter than, taller than, things like that. Preposition words like next to, beside, in front of, behind. Then yes, you'd certainly want to move them on to mathematical reasoning because mathematical reasoning 2, because mathematical reasoning 1 will be essentially a little too easy for them. And so this would be a great start here. How many yellow crayons are in the picture? 2, you're still doing that subitizing. It's still picking up lessons that the child has learned or experienced from mathematical reasoning beginning 1. So it will be so much easier for them to flow into this after they finish the first one. But I believe you can opt out of it if your child has a sense of those things that I just discussed. So let's look here. There are no fish in the bowl. There are 0 fish in the bowl. They're tracing. Put an X on the tree with 0 apples. Now they're getting into some handwriting practice in this book. When we looked at the Mathematical Reasoning 1, they didn't have handwriting practice before. And you know, when your child moves on into those kindergarten curriculums, they are going to want your child to write. Now, what I've noticed with some of them, they may just have tracing on them, so your child doesn't have to do a lot of writing. If you look at curriculums like Math UC or Right Start Math, it does require the child to have some type of writing, being able to write their numbers. So this is a a great start for that. And like I showed in the last video, I like to reuse my resources. So I will put a laminating sheet over the pages that I want my child to write on so that we can continue reusing the sheets. And it just makes it so much easier. You get your eraser thingy, you move on with your next one. And then, like I said in the last video, if you want to resell it or you don't have it or donate it, you can do that, you know, without it being written all on. So this one, cross out figures in the picture to match the number I tell you. This one, point to the box with 6 cats, point to the box with 4 cats, point to the box with the fewest cats, and point to the box with the most cats. And so they're going to have to look at these pictures. You see this one has some rats in it. So we don't want to count all of those. So it's asking for some type of visual discrimination from that one as well. We have some drawing shapes here. You still see that these are what they're mentioning when they're saying geometry. Point to the duck that is first in line. Point to the duck that is last in line. There's still a review of that of the order. Shortest to longest. So there still will be learning about these in this one as well. So if they have a little sense of that, move them on here. How many brown cows are in the picture? How many white cows are in the picture? Point to the red circle and say the numeral below it. Describe the patterns. All triangles have 3 sides and 3 corners. Point and count aloud the sides of the triangles. How many straight sides are in a rectangle? How many corners are in a rectangle? Point to each figure and tell me its shape. All review. Point to the numeral 2 and say the color above it. More riddles, and this one as well. For each of the shapes on the picture below, we're going to count them. Find the 6 squares in this picture. Have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you do the same for circles. Count 7 dots. Count 8 candies. How many balloons are blue? Which row in each group has more things in it? Explain how you decided. So look at that, some thinking skills going on. Point to the elephant and say the numeral below it, some number recognition here. Count the boxes each clown is holding. Under each clown, write the number of boxes. Draw a line segment from each girl to her toys. Tammy has only toys with wheels. Which one of these would be hers? This one. These are the only toys with wheels. How many yellow houses are in the picture? Are there more yellow or blue houses in the picture? Point to the numeral 7 and say the name of the animal above it. Oh, these are cool right here. Mind benders. So let's go over this one. A fireman, a boy, and a girl all live in different houses. Read the clues and fill in the charts using Y for yes and N for no to solve the puzzle. So the child is going to be getting this description right here. And then they're going to be analyzing which house belongs to which person. So the fireman house has less than 3 windows. This would be their house. Then we would put a yes or a check. You can do checks and X's for this as well. The boy's house has the most windows. Which house has the most windows? This would be his house. So which house would be left over for her? It would be this house. They actually have a mind benders book specifically catered to activities like this right here. And the same for the riddles. They have the riddles book specifically for riddles if you like those thinking skills activities on top of this program as well. This is getting into a little bit of subtraction practice. There were this many candies in my pocket. Then I ate 3 candies. Put an X over 3 candies. And how many are still inside my pocket? A little bit more of that subtraction practice going on here. And now they're moving on to some handwriting practice with larger numbers. Touch the hand holding up 5 fingers and say 5. Draw a line segment from the hand to 5. Mark on the number line. So we're looking here. There's 4 fingers up. They would draw a line to 4. touch the first box and say first, touch the second box and say second. So they're still practicing that order. More mind benders, a review of beside and front, as same from mathematical reasoning beginning 1. More mind benders, asking how many, which two trees have about the same number of oranges. This fish bowls contain about the same number of fish. Count how many steps it will take you to go from one side of your bedroom to the other side. Count how many of your hands it will take to cross the top of your kitchen table. Count how many pencils it will take to go from the side of your bed to the other side. So this is something that you would do with your child and allow them to explore with these, getting the idea of measurement. Point to the group that has 6 things, point to the group that has 6 things, and so forth. Some more subitizing, more subtraction practice. Cross out the animals to make the pictures match the numbers. The numerals, what I would do is I would ask how many are in this picture. There are 5. Let's cross out 3 animals. Now there's 5 minus 3. How many animals are left? There are 2. So that's how I would do this activity for an example of subtraction. How many hats are in the picture? How many coats are in the picture? Let's look through here. Now we're just going to do quite a big quick flip through. This book has 282 pages in it. Some more writing practice. And we're only on page 100. And you do not have to do every single page. If your child understands it already, or you see that there's going to be more coming soon, go ahead and skip it. Give them about 3 or 4 of these pages. And some of them are repetitive. Here goes an introduction into graphing. Finish coloring the boxes on the graph to show how many children ate each type of ice cream. 2 children like chocolate. So they're showing you how they want you to fill it up. 3 children like strawberries. So strawberry ice cream. So the child would fill it up there. Here goes some addition practice. It's 3 plus 2. You can have your child write the number 3 there and then write the number 2 there and already know that there are 5 just from the subitizing practice. What I will say about this is there's 4 plus 3. What I will say about this is that it doesn't teach you how to show your child mental math. Right here, this is just an introduction to addition. So the 4 plus 3, they're not already going to know how to use the 10 frame, or they might not. Well, they may know how to use the 10 frame if you've taught them already, or they may know how to use a 5 frame if you taught them that already. What I would like to do is to get an abacus, an AL abacus. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is what Right Start Math uses. It's a kindergarten math curriculum. And how they use this is they show the child will be able to move 3 and then 2. And notice that 3 and 2 are 5. Or they will start here and move 4 and 3. And know that 5 and 2 is 7. So these will be built up on once you do start a math curriculum. I use this with Math with Confidence as well. But Math with Confidence, they actually use the 10 frame. So you would put the counters in here and they use the single line 10 frame. And I like this because it aligns with your abacus. Now they do have a similar abacus like this on Amazon. It's from the Learning Resources. I will post the link of that in the description, but you can have your child put the 3 counters on there and then the 2 counters on there to be able to identify 5. Eventually, this will become like mental math to them because they'll automatically be able to picture this 10 frame and then know that, okay, 5 and 3 is 8, or if I need to do 5 and 1 more is 6. And that principle is shown on here too. So this is an introduction. It's not teaching you mental math. And right now they're just learning the concept of addition. right? So 5 plus 2, they may already see this as 5, and you can have them go 5, 6, 7. I don't know if you want to start teaching them counting on their fingers or not. A lot of children do it that way. They can go 5, 6, 7, or you see some children going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not what we want to do, right? Because that takes longer than them to be able to start with 5 and then count up 6, 7. And so, yes, but eventually, this is just a great start for understanding addition, right? They can do it, even if they do have to count their fingers, they've got that exposure to it before they do move on to a kindergarten curriculum, right? So there's some more addition practice here. How many red squares are in the picture? How many gray squirrels are in the picture? How many squirrels are in the picture? So it's some word problems. They're getting an idea of word problems with addition, right? Tom bought these candies. How many candies did he buy? So as you can see, more Thinkerdoodles, I keep calling it Tinker. More Thinkerdoodles, which they introduced that into Mathematical Reasoning 1. And it's just a well thought out program just for getting those basics in, right? Measurements, more measurement. And now we're getting closer to the end. Okay, and now this is just a flip through, a slow flip through without me doing so much talking over it, just so you can get an idea of what this book holds, everything that's inside of it. And this is actually an A-B pattern one, which you've actually seen this one before, the same one inside of the Mathematical Reasoning Beginning 1. And it's just the cat, bear, cat, bear. More of those mind benders, Thinkerdoodles, riddles at the end, lines of symmetry. When I say a number, point to it on the number line and say its name. This is making sure when they wrap it up that, your child understands their number recognition, more mind benders, a little bit more critical thinking activities and stuff going on towards the end. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. Thank you.